Hello, welcome to my mask tutorial. This one has wire in the nose and is hand sewn instead of using a machine. This is inspired by Deb's Days. So the supplies you're going to need are fabric, elastic, thread, needle, 4 clips or pins, whichever you prefer to use, scissors, floral wire, pliers, a pencil, and a ruler. So first with your fabric, you're going to cut 8 inches by 14 inches out of the fabric. With that, you're going to place the side that you do not want to use on the outside and fold your fabric in half. We're next going to iron along that seam that we create. After that's ironed, you're going to want to sew along this line to make a channel for your floral wire to fit. Now that we have that channel, you can open up your fabric, and now we're going to measure our elastic. For this mask, I did 6 inches of elastic for each piece. This will change depending on how big a person's face is or how small. And make sure that these 2 pieces are even. Next, what I like to do to make sure that my lines are straight is I will go around the entire mask and put lines of chalk or pencil, depending on how dark the fabric is, of where I'm going to stitch. So the next stitches we're going to be doing are around the mask, just to clean up those edges. So you can see me here using the chalk and doing each of the rest of the sides. Next, we're going to open up our mask and put the elastic in. So you're going to want to put the elastic towards the corner with it facing inwards. And fold your fabric back over to put either your pin or your clip. Here I am showing it with the clip to hold that elastic down. Personally, I like using pins for this step, so that's why I use a pin. And then we're going to open that fabric again and take the other side of the elastic and we're going to put it in the other corner. This is going to be kind of difficult because you want it to still face the inside of the mask right now. So you're going to want to try to keep that angle as you pin it. And now we're just going to do the same thing on the other side with the other piece of elastic that we have. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to sew just a tiny bit, just where I'm showing, and make sure you go through that elastic a whole bunch of times. So now we're going to sew around the entirety of the mask, leaving a gap to flip the mask inside out. So now that you've sewn around the entirety of the mask, leaving that gap, we're going to take our floral wire and put it into the channel that we created at the top of the mask. You should get about 7 inches of your floral wire. And you're going to want to use your pliers to bend the ends into loops so you don't poke yourself, because the ends can be pretty sharp. Now that you have your loops, you're going to want to put your wire on top of that channel and see where it meets. Make sure that the wire is centered in the middle of your mask. Oh wait, first we're going to cut the corners of our mask. So we're just going to cut them and back to our wire. So we're going to lay down the wire and take note of where the wire sits. On one side of the wire, before putting it in, we're going to sew down that edge so we can keep it in. After we have that sewn up, we're going to put our wire through to meet where we sewed down. And again, take note of where it ends. You're going to sew down that line to keep your wire in. So now that it's all sewn and your wire shouldn't be going anywhere, you're going to be flipping your mask inside out. Now be careful with the wire with this, and it will misshape a little bit, but you can adjust it. You'll see me adjust it at the end. Make sure to pull out all your corners to make sure everything is good, and it should look relatively like this. So the next thing you're going to want to do is that hole, you're going to want to fold in your sides of your mask to iron. I have a close-up here showing where you're going to fold it in. You should do it just like me. After you've ironed it, those seams should be pretty clear, and you're going to want to sew around the entirety of your mask. Make sure that when you're sewing the top, you're sewing underneath the wire. Alright, so now that you've sewn around the entirety of the mask, it should be looking pretty good. So the next thing that we're going to want to do is at the iron, we're going to want to fold our mask in half and iron down this seam to make sure that it leaves a crease. Next, you're going to take that half and fold it to the crease that you just created, ironing that piece again. And you're going to do the same on the other side. So fold, iron, and then open up. So you should have 3 creases by the end of this. So here you can see the 3 creases that I've created, and we're going to start folding. So make sure that your wire is the top. Your pleats are going to fold away from your wire. So you're going to fold down, and then fold down, and then fold down. And then here's where you're going to clip it. And so this can be a little difficult. So you can see me here clipping the pleats, making sure each one is around the same size. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you kind of want them to generally look uniform. So the next thing you're going to want to do is sew down each side to keep the pleats in place. This is our last step. Once you've sewn down that, you can take off your clips and your mask should be complete. You might want to stretch it and mess with it, make sure it fits on your face, but that's it. Thank you so much.